Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PowettPlay Podcast. It's me, John and Shannon, as always, and joined by Kieran Powell. How are you, Kai?
I'm not too bad. I can see that you're doing pretty well as well, John.
Yeah, I've changed of scenery over the Easter weekend in Portugal for a few nights away. I may have disrespected the sun ever so slightly yesterday when we went for a bit of a walk, and then let's just say caught the sun a little bit. So definitely warmer than it is in England, anyway.
Just a little bit, maybe
Just a
two
little.
degrees.
No, exactly. In the in the team of the weeks that we've been doing, and we've discussed the overall performances of the West Indies Championship. We discussed that we're going to do. You'd like to see anyway two sides going into the series against South Africa, right? So 1-11 and then a separate 11, and perfectly timed that we'll discuss the first test 11 that you want to see, and then we'll follow up with the second and then a bit of an overall review. So we've been discussing it, and you come up with your 11, which is John Campbell and Cephas Cooper opening the batting, Kevlin Anderson at three, Alec Athanaze at four, Amir Django at five, Tevin Imlach at six, Jules Andrew at seven, Cara Pierre at eight, Ronaldo Ali Mohammed at nine, Anderson Phillip at 10, and Johan Lane at 11.
Yep, that's correct.
So a packed team, that, to be fair, and there's a couple of standouts, from an interesting side of things. But what are you looking to get out, with the opening pair in there? What's your thoughts? What have you gone? Why them two is such?
I think holistically, I'm looking for youth and
Yeah,
experience, continued development for the younger players to get exposure to a higher level of cricket
yeah,
now, as opposed to just playing our regional first class cricket, getting a small sample size of what international cricket could look
yeah,
like,
yeah,
as well as for the more senior players a chance to stake a claim for international honors. So obviously starting with a John Campbell, he's someone that I think should probably take this opportunity very seriously.
yeah,
And obviously, I mean, this is just Chairman Powell's 11. We don't know what the
yeah,
actual big team is going to be. But in my world, I think that he's someone that needs to take this opportunity seriously and
yeah,
try and score another century. Obviously, he scored three centuries in the season, but this is an opportunity for him now to go and stake a claim and solidify a spot
yeah,
in in that test team. Because I think that we need to try and move away from chopping and changing, chopping and changing. The West Indies have gone through that for 20, 30, 35 years.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think we need to identify some players and, have some sort of stability, some sort of relationships, continuity throughout the team. And I think that John Campbell provides, I guess, a suitable option. He's someone that's 32 years of age as well, so I think he's still got probably another good 4 or 5 years of solid cricket left in
yeah,
him, barring injuries or anything unforeseen. And I think as well, I'm quite a big fan of having a left-right opening combination as well, giving you disruption in bonus lines and lengths as well. So that's why I've gone for John Campbell because I think that he's someone that's at present knocking on the door of the West
yeah,
Indies team. But
yeah,
a Cephas Cooper, on the other hand, is someone that I'd like to reward for a very good season, someone that I'd like to, again, expose to um, early stages of international cricket,
yeah,
continue to build on what he's done for the season. I think he had a very good season, 1 century, four half centuries, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
And so I think that you need to reward these young players so that they continue to strive to produce season after season so that now he knows, okay, he's an A-team player. This is what that was like. So my level of preparation for next season needs to look like this based on not what I've done regionally, but what I see now at a higher standard. This is
yeah,
what my game has to be
yeah.
in order to be anywhere near to Test cricket standard.
Yeah, definitely. I think the key thing that you mentioned there is this reward for consistency and scoring runs, because there's players playing regional cricket at this moment in time. You've not had the greatest campaign, and you think, right, draw a line under it. I'm going to work hard between now and X, and then I can come again next time for the four day period. And if they get the runs, they know that at the end of that there is that opportunity to then go and play on an 18 tour. And then again, if you do well on that, the door's there, the opportunities are there. And I think that's really key that as you mentioned, you're rewarding people's consistency and people scoring runs or taking wickets in whatever case that may be.
Indeed, I mean, a progressional pathway is what needs to be identified. Players need to know that, okay, if I perform, this is my pathway
Yeah,
and see this happen.
yeah,
So when a player does get selected for an A team, other regional players know, okay, if I do perform, that's my next step. So I think it's only par for the course. Kevlin Anderson at number 3, he's someone, in my opinion, that is probably he's 24 years old, I think.
yeah,
23, 24. He's someone that the West Indies could look to build into a solid test player for another 10, 12 years. I think that he's that good of a player. And for me, he's someone that's knocking on that test team door. Um, Whether he starts or not, that's left to be decided at a later date. But I think that a good game here for him could get him at the very least, into the squad. And it definitely can't hurt his chances, because I think
right.
now we've seen him. Yeah, we've seen him for a few seasons. He's a consistent run scorer in 4-day cricket, and I think that he definitely merits this selection, this opportunity, and I hope that he definitely takes it, because he's someone that I think that the Guyana team has identified at a very young age and sort of made him the backbone of their batting lineup, and allowed him to gain that experience while you had the likes of the senior players of the very Sami Parmal, etc., in and around that team to guide him and to show him the way forward in at least first class cricket. So he was able to have that cushion around him, that support. So
Yeah,
looking forward to continued performances from Kevlin Anderson.
yeah, no, I totally agree. Then number 4 is someone who probably hasn't had been in the form that they were probably expecting going into the 4-day stuff in Alec Athanaze, really. So you're really, I'm hoping that he goes into some, find something in these two, well, in this test match per se.
Well, this for me is, I guess, an opportunity for Alec Athens to select himself or not select himself,
Yeah.
because he hasn't scored any volume of runs throughout the season, throughout the regional season.
No.
Obviously, he would have scored a few half centuries, etc., along the way in the past few Test series that the West Indies would have played, and I guess that would be his only premium as to why he is in this A-team squad. Barring for that, he probably would not have been in this A-team squad. So I think that he's someone that needs to go into this match and get a big score and sort of say to the selectors, okay, I had a bad season, but I have been showing potential at the international stage. I haven't quite cracked it yet, but I might just be around the corner. So this is me putting up my hand,
Yeah.
showing that, I do deserve to at least have another opportunity in this go around, at least, to cement myself as a player for the West Indies team long term.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end of the day, he's 26 years of age. Yes, he's played, a handful of test matches. You are going to have dips in form during your career. It's how you respond in these situations. And he could come out in both these test matches, hypothetically, if he plays in them, if he's selected, and score 100 or a couple of big half centuries as such. And all of a sudden that momentum goes back again. Or he might go in the way where, he doesn't score any runs and he has to take that time. He's not going to get picked in this. He might feature in the squad, but not play or not even make the squad. Then has to take that and think, right, okay, what's my path back into it? What do I need to do? How do I figure out these flaws in my game? Because as you get higher at those levels, people, the analysis that takes place, it's in more detail, and you might get found out.
Exactly. I mean, he's obviously someone that likes to hit the ball square of the wicket. So you see now a lot of teams bowling him fuller, straighter, forcing him to hit the ball straight back down the ground where he doesn't have that much power. And if
Yeah.
you get any deviation, that's where you get a nick going behind, because it's not, I guess, his strong zones. So, I mean, these are things that would have been identified for him that he probably would have identified himself.
Yeah.
These are things that he needs to work on, obviously, to continue to improve, but the talent is there, but we sort of need, I guess, more production or more level of a higher level of consistency at this point, because he has played quite a few test matches at this point now.
Yeah, no, totally agree with you. And then at number five, you've gone with Amir Django.
Indeed. Someone that had a very good season last year, both 4-day and 1-day, obviously had that stellar ODI 1-day debut. Made his test debut in Pakistan. You can't really judge anyone on that series. You know, the pitches were atrocious. It was just spin it to win it. Drawn series. Didn't necessarily have a bad first class season, but didn't have a great first class season as well.
Yeah.
Amir Django is someone that I believe has a lot of potential, a lot of untapped
Okay.
potential still. I think having him back in the right position is crucial to his success, especially in the 4-day form of the game. I know that he came in at number 3 in
Yeah.
Pakistan. I would have liked to see a Kavim Hodge or Alec Athens be put up the order because obviously they're a bit more experienced than him and allow him to come in um, at 5, 6. So that's why I've gone for him at number 5 here. But I think that he's someone that deserves continued opportunities in the 4-day format of the game, whether it be in the A team or just in and around the test squad to continue to develop and learn. So Django is sort of in a tricky position between continued exposure as well as knocking on the door.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he doesn't do well, it's not the end of the world. If he does do well, um, give yourself another chance. But I think that he's someone that will be at least around the West Indies setup in some format, whether it be limited overs cricket or all 3 formats.
Yeah. I think the thing with him I wanted to mention was he was just those half centuries that he didn't convert into the centuries and the regional stuff that you know, we mentioned it a bit ago with Jamal Hamilton, but if he turns, I think there were 3 or 4 half centuries, three, I think it was 3 off the top of my head. If you turn them into centuries, you tell he's, a much different thing, and all of a sudden you've hit, you've scored those centuries in the middle order, which is, a real key thing that we've mentioned.
Yeah, indeed.
And then at number 6, you've gone with Tevin Imlach.
Yeah. I mean, his volume of runs throughout the season, his debut in Pakistan, as I said with Django just now, you can't necessarily judge based on the Pakistan series whether he was good or not. But I think what he did do is what he was supposed to do and come home and dominate the regional standard because when you come back, you're supposed to show that you are a level above that when you're playing against regional bowlers,
Yeah,
which he did do to his merit. So commendable stuff from him. I'd like again for him to continue to get preparation for that test series because for me that's what this would be for Tevin Imlach, preparation for that test series. He would be my first keeper, my
right.
first choice keeper starting that Australia series based on the fact that I don't think that you can just drop someone after 2 matches. You have to give them somewhat of a go, as we've seen with other players um, in the squad right now. They've had sort of extended runs, so I think it'd only be fair for Imlat to have somewhat of a run as well.
Right, okay. Well, it's interesting you mentioned there about the gloves. And then at number 7, you've got Jewel Andrew.
I
Um,
mean, in an ideal world, obviously, Joel will be batting higher, but
yeah,
obviously, because for me, this is just a sort of a developmental type match for him. Again, continued exposure. Um, it's fine for him to come in at number 7 for the purposes of this match. Hopefully, he'll be able to come in with a platform set, not much pressure, and then he can express
yeah,
himself and again play against high quality bowling and get a good score because ultimately it's just about building confidence, building reps. At
yeah,
this point, for him, he's only 18 years old. Um, you think about it, Drill Andrew might probably go from playing regional cricket, um, A-team cricket, to playing under 19 cricket,
yeah,
all in the same summer. So it's quite a gap
yeah,
that he's sort of navigating at this moment. And in this point in time in his career, I wouldn't have him playing regional under 19 cricket because I just don't think it would be beneficial to him. I know the academy has a tour. I'd much prefer him, if anything, to be on that tour than playing under 19 cricket. But I think that this A team match would be very good for him. We've seen his continued and rapid growth. Very quick learner, very talented individual. So I win based on solid.
Yeah, no. You mentioned about the under 19s. Would you like to see him still represent the West Indies under 19 side?
If he's not in the West Indies senior team,
Right.
then that's something that we have to take into
Yeah.
consideration. I
Yeah.
remember when I played for the West Indies under 19, Ishant Sharma was supposed to be at that World Cup, but he was playing in a series for India against Australia's senior men's team. So
Okay.
it's down to
Yeah.
what is he doing at that point in time.
Yeah.
Does he need to? Probably not, either way. And the time of the World Cups, it's generally around when they have regional cricket on, whether it be 4-day or 1-day
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm sure that he'll be probably someone that they look to as maybe being the captain of that team anyway. So I guess there's different reasons as to why they may take him to the World Cup. I know definitely like to see him become the vice captain of the Leeward Islands Hurricanes team, for the simple fact that he's only 18 years old, and right now everyone loves everything that he does. But if he has one bad season, people are going to start saying a million things, and he will only be 19 years old, you know? So I think that early exposure to responsibility, to pressure, to having to change your game to suit based on not only the position that you're going into or the situation of the game, but the responsibility that you have from the team could only continue to help his growth as a player. And those are things that I look for personally to continue to improve players' growth and keep them ahead or a stage or two above where they should be.
What in terms of that, and I following on from our conversations we had in terms of from a leadership and that mentorship and that guiding long-term planning aspect, with an experienced side like the Leeward Islands, would making Jewel vice captain have a negative impact with that older group of players to think, well, why have you bypassed that age group to then go? Do you think it would?
Not at all.
Right.
Um, I don't think it would be viewed as anything but a positive
Right,
thing.
that's great. Yeah.
Obviously, everyone in that dressing room knows that this is the face of that franchise. Everyone in that
Yeah.
dressing room knows that he's going to be around for probably the next 18 years, and he's already played 2 years,
Yeah.
18, 20 years, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think that it'd be. He's absolutely loved in that dressing room. He's absolutely loved in that franchise. He's absolutely loved in that region, and probably in the wider Caribbean as well.
Yeah.
And as I said, there's a clear path, a clear objective um, as to why that would be done. He's going to be the Leeward Islands captain at some point in time anyway.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily mean as though if Raheem Cornwall stops playing today that you make Joel Andrew the captain because he's the vice captain. You've got other senior
Yeah.
guys that
Yeah.
can come into that role, but you're just inviting him into that leadership group to start thinking and developing maturity quicker.
Yeah. No, totally. Look, you answered that question perfectly. Because, like I said, sometimes you can see that things can unsettle, but no, you're speaking so highly of him within that team. Yeah, it makes absolute total sense. And then we're into the bowlers now. So you've gone with Carrie Pierre.
Just sheer volume of wickets, 41 wickets, the only bowler to go into the 40s, class by himself this season, started the season, led from the front, and never give up that lead to any other bowler. I think that, oftentimes players get pigeonholed in the Caribbean as red ball or white ball players. And it was refreshing for me to hear Sammy say that we don't have enough players to say that we have red ball or white ball players. We have cricketers.
Yeah.
Because to me, ultimately, you are a cricketer. You have to adapt your game to suit whatever format. And if we're looking for the best for West Indies cricket, then we need to develop more holistic players. And so it's good to see someone that has been sort of pigeonholed as a white ball bowler come and dominate a red ball season the way he has, because he is someone that's been around for quite a long time, and I don't see why if he goes and performs in this match, he can't be in and around a West Indies tour. There's a tour of India coming up later in the year, where you're going to need multiple spinners on that tour. And, that may just be a great opportunity for him because ultimately he's someone that's very consistent. He bowls a good pace on the ball. And you look at what a Ravindra Jadeja does, for
Yeah.
example, he's pretty much a prototype of that type of bowler. And we see the success that he has in India. So this is someone that you can sort of forward think and plan for to take on those types of tours.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally with you. And then at number 9, you've gone with Ronaldo Ali Mohammed.
Again, volume of wickets, but not only that, he's shown his all-round ability, averaging over 35 plus with the bat this season. So he gives you um, a three-dimensional cricketing option, which
Yeah.
is what we're looking for in this day and age of cricket. Um, I think it's important to see as well and test and gauge his ability against higher quality batters. Um, you know, the first thing that jumps out probably is his pace or his lack thereof. But then you think of obviously playing against South Africa A, and you think of Vernon Philander, who's a South African, and the success he was able to achieve on the international stage. And maybe this may be something that he may be able to replicate. So you never know, unless you give people opportunities to show their worth. And if he's performed that credibly in regional cricket, he's definitely someone that I think should have an opportunity to go and at least have the ability to showcase his talent and show whether he may be able to perform at a higher level.
Yeah, and he is a prime example of someone who's taken that opportunity in the 4-day season to then go and put his name in the hat to go and represent the West Indies, at 18, or even further ahead. And this is where you want to see that. If we was to rewind prior to the campaign starting, would we have predicted someone like him was going to be featuring? You probably wouldn't because he'd only played probably maybe 7 or 8 first class games before this season started. And it shows if you take that opportunity and you put that consistent performances in, the opportunities will come. And that's, all we wanted. And this is prior to the conversations that we had, is we wanted to highlight levels of consistency. And, yeah, this is something that me and you were discussing on a weekly basis. But we want that consistency. And I think that he showed that that's where, we're rewarding it by mentioning him in these podcasts, which is good. So, from that side of things. And then number 10, interesting for me, this one, because I agree. And you're gone with Anderson Phillip. He's playing over, he's playing for Lancashire and he's doing all right. But how does it work?
Um, well, if West Indies board has to have him excused from one round of county matches, because as I said, we've sort of picked two teams, a team
Yeah,
for the first game and a team for the second game, thinking maximum exposure, development, and opportunities for guys in and around that test squad. I
yeah,
think that Anderson Phillip, this would be his opportunity to showcase his ability again and say or prove as to why he should be selected as the first choice backup seam bowler in the event that any of the first three guys go down. I would think that just based on experience and wickets, etc., pace, different skill set, Alzari Joseph may pip him to that point. But if he goes and performs in this match, then he has a fighting case as to why he should be the man. And obviously, playing county cricket as well is another opportunity for him to showcase his ability and gain experience playing in different conditions around the county scene, especially with the likes of a Jimmy Anderson on a daily basis, so to continue to improve and develop his skills. So no, I think that Anderson Phillip, pretty steady bowler, very hard worker, runs in every time you give him the ball. He'll never shirk his work, and is someone that is deserving of an opportunity.
yeah. I was just looking at some of, he's not bowled particularly great over here so far. I think that there's an opportunity, in the next round of fixtures to see him, perform. And with that, do you think he could bypass the A-team selection in terms of maybe get feature in the Australia series if he was to do well enough over here? Or do you think he has to feature in the A-team series to then play against Australia?
This is just what I'd like to see, but I think
Yeah,
that there's definitely a path where he can bypass the A-team series and still feature against Australia. Obviously, playing county cricket, he's playing 40 cricket, so he's going to have miles under his legs. He's going to have a lot of bowling done, and that could just be another opportunity to expose another bowler that wouldn't have gotten the opportunity at the A-team level
yeah,
because Anderson is already playing high quality cricket over in England. So. Um, I can see a path where either option is viable, but it's just I guess what the selectors and the coach would like to see.
of course. And then wrapping the team up, you've gone with Johan Lane, which is exciting.
Yep,
It's an exciting prospect.
yep. I think he's generation next, and he's definitely putting his hand up in terms of leading the pack for the next group of young fast bowlers in his age group. Two 5 wicket hauls this season. Pretty good all-round performances. He can bat a bit as well. Strikes the ball quite long. Can hold up an end if necessary to partner a batter at the crease. So he seems to be a pretty good cricketer, but I do like his skill set. Has a very good outswinger to the right-handers and is able to nip the ball back into them as well. So pretty skillful bowler and seems to understand what he's doing and how to get wickets because generally the pitches in the Caribbean are extremely batter friendly. And for him to be able to get I guess, the volume of wickets that he does, or that he did this season, shows that A, he's a hard worker, B, he's a quick learner, and C, his skill level is up to the standard where, regardless of conditions, he's gonna make it a challenge for batters to score, and he'll always be in the hunt for taking wickets. So that's all you can ask of fastball, especially in those conditions that are not suitable to you.
Yeah, yeah, and again, I think I keep saying the word consistency, but he's shown that consistency as well throughout that. And you're saying about mixing it up and learning, he's shown that really because, like I said, with the way that the pitches are, and some, especially in some conditions where he was bowling, he's had to work it out, and I think that's a big takeaway.
Indeed.
So we've wrapped up that the hypothetically speaking, in terms of the 11 for the South Africa A team first Test match. You've rewarded runs and you've rewarded wickets, and I think it'll be interesting to see the second team that you name. What any other thoughts to add to that?
No, I just think that it's a great opportunity for these young players. A-team cricket. I'd like to see a lot more of it where they could possibly make that a staple of the calendar going forward, where the guys on the fringes of the international team, as well as the young up and coming guys, know that they'll be, one home. For me, the way I do it is one home series and two overseas series. And the overseas series will always be in either one of England, South Africa, and Australia, New Zealand, those four, and then one of the subcontinental conditions. So you get access to
Yeah,
pace, swing, bounce, and you get access to spinning conditions every year so that the guys continue to develop on a holistic level, whether it be your fast bowlers, your spinners, and obviously your batters, your wicket keepers as well, continue to grow so that their skills are transferred across the board a lot smoother when you come
yeah,
to international level as opposed to just being exposed to Caribbean pitches and then being surprised or found wanting when you get to the international level.
no, totally agree. You could definitely do with plugging into someone like you, Kieran. That's for certain.
Well, I am available.
Well, thank you
Pretty
so
easy
much.
to get.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Um, well, thank you everybody for listening and joining me and Kieran discussing this. Let us know your thoughts in the comments in terms of what you thought of Kieran's 11 and any people you expect to see in Kieran's next Test match 11 as well. But thank you all for joining us, and we'll speak to you all soon. Cheers, Kai.
Cheers, John. Bye.